भारतीय राजनीति को बहुत सारे विद्वानों ने अपने नज़रिए से देखा है, जांचा है, परखा है और उस श्रेणी में आज हमारे साथ बहुत ही उम्दा व्यक्तित्व हैं प्रोफेसर क्रिस्टोफर जेफरलेट।
नमस्ते।
प्रोफेसर क्रिस्टोफर जेफरलेट उन चुनिंदा लोगों में से हैं जिन्होंने अपने नए चश्मे से भारतीय राजनीति को देखा है और ये शायद पहली दफ़ा है कि हम भारतीय दर्शकों के बीच इनके काम को और इनके साथ बातचीत को लेकर आ रहे हैं। क्रिस्टोफर जेफरलेट फ्रांस स्थित शोध संस्था सेरी से जुड़े हुए हैं और वहाँ वो रेगुलर 2000 से लेकर 2008 की अवधि में आपने महत्वपूर्ण रूप से वहाँ डायरेक्टर की जिम्मेदारी का पद भी संभाला। आप लंदन स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स, किंग्स कॉलेज लंदन और प्रिंसटन यूनिवर्सिटी में मानद प्रोफेसर के पद पर कार्य करते रहे हैं। हिंदुस्तान में पत्रकारिता का बहुत प्रतिष्ठित पुरस्कार रामनाथ गोयनका अवार्ड से भी आप 2014 में सम्मानित हुए हैं। आपकी किताबें मुझे लगता है अंग्रेजी अकादमिक जगत के लिए तो हमेशा प्रेरणा का स्रोत रही हैं। विशेष रूप से जो आपकी किताब इंडिया साइलेंट रिवोल्यूशन है या फिर अंबेडकर एंड अनटचेबिलिटी, या जो आपकी किताब हिंदू नेशनलिज्म इन इंडिया है, इन्होंने हमेशा से अकादमिक परिचर्चा को अपनी ओर खींचा है। आज हम आपके साथ उत्तर प्रदेश की चुनाव पर बातचीत करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
आपको मालूम है क्या मैं 30 वर्षों से हर साल आता हूँ हिंदुस्तान में काम करने के लिए। दक्षिण भारत में नहीं, उत्तर प्रदेश, मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान, गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र में काम करता हूँ और जाति और राजनीति के बारे में, हिंदू मुसलमान रिलेशंस के बारे में और अभी अर्बन डेवलपमेंट के बारे में। सो मेरा काम इस तरफ काम
है आपका।
काम है, लेकिन मैं पाकिस्तान के बारे में काम करता हूँ अभी, और मैं कराची, इस्लामाबाद और लाहौर हर साल आता हूँ और जाना हूँ।
The election of UP are famous for their money, muscle and power of mafia. What will be the impact of the recent phase of demonetization and all these? Will it change the election flavor and bring some simplicity to it, or the political parties will make a way out of it?
It's too early to say because we cannot really appreciate the impact of this demonetization at the moment. We just even don't know how far, how long it will last. It's now more than 1 month old, and hardships are continuing. If they continue for 2 months, for 3 months, when the elections will take place, then the impact may be big, not so much on parties but on voters, and they may turn their anger to the ruling party for this kind of hardship. Now, on the party's practices, it's probably one of the intentions of the ruling party to make the financing of the campaign difficult, especially for BSP. Whether that is successful or not, we don't know, because parties are very good at circumventing this. Muscle power will be there, probably. Money power, we'll see.
Second question is, in the upcoming election, which party will play Ambedkar card successfully? Traditionally, BSP had its strong support base in untouchable. How it is going to affect in this election? I want to include third also with second. In your book, a very important work, Dr. Ambedkar and Untouchability, through picture you had reflected at how RSS distributed a pamphlet of Hindu nationalist organizations where it has included Ambedkar among the galaxy of Hindu heroes. This shows how much it is eager to co-opt Dr. Ambedkar. In recent time, we can see similar effort by RSS to connect with the Dalit through its Samarasta Abhiyan. On the eve of upcoming election, does it reflect any political meaning?
Everybody tries to appropriate the legacy of Dr. Ambedkar across the board. And the irony is that Ambedkar is promoted occasionally, at the time of election especially, but for instance, when his anniversary took place only a few days ago, nobody spoke about him. So when you need him, you invoke him, but you don't really believe in his teachings and speeches and thinking. Now, of course, the party that is the most faithful to Ambedkar's ideas is BSP, and Kanshiram, the founder of BSP, was directly inspired by Ambedkar. You may remember that he discovered Ambedkar when he was working in Pune, and then he read the famous book, Annihilation of Caste, and became an Ambedkarite. So even if he's not there anymore, BSP, his party, is still the party of Ambedkarism, and that should help to get the Dalits vote indeed.
If we carefully see, we can realize that there is a gradual change in the strategies of RSS, especially in some branches of reservation, homosexuality, and participation of women in their specific branches. Okay, so how one should see and understand these changes? Is RSS changing, or the society is changing, so the RSS too?
I think RSS is changing somewhat, adjusting to social change somewhat. The sociology of RSS used to be Brahminical. It used to be really Savant oriented. And we've seen after Mandal, it started after Mandal in the 90s, the induction of people coming from more plebeian milieus, including among the Pratcharaks, including among the cadre of the organization. Now, that does not mean that the ethos has been transformed, because you can include people coming from the plebeians, but not to recognize their identity, but to Sanskritize them. And Sanskritization certainly remains the order of the day. So RSS, in that sense, has not changed so much. Huh?
Myself, one very direct question, because you have done so much work on Hindu nationalism and all such thing, and you shared in last time in a conference that when you basically visited different part in India, and when you asked to people, "Kya Bharat ek Hindu rashtra hai?" So I want to know your experience regarding their answer and all such thing.
No, this is, I think, one of the methods we use in political science. An ethnographic approach of issues. We ask an open question to as many people as we can from different avenues, and we see what are the words which come out first. Yeah. It's a non-directive method. And asking a question like this one, आपका ख्याल है हिंदू राष्ट्र के बारे में, आपके लिए हिंदू राष्ट्र क्या है? Then you realize that in many milieus it's a very vague approach, and those who are the staunchest ideologues would refer to others, Muslims, Christians, in the first place. So for me, it was a very interesting experience to see that this notion has been built against others, primarily.
In one of your recent articles, you have talked of the Hindutva's purification drive. And you had said that how Sangh Parivar leaders designate the conversion out of Hinduism as a denationalization process. We have witnessed recently the Muzaffarnagar riots, the Dadri mob lynching, and recently the 24th anniversary of the Babri Masjid demolition happened. Every party tried to lure the Hindus and the non-Hindus more around the elections. How non-Hindus are accommodating within all these? Will they get more alienated from the state because of all this? or will they assert their identity?
Indeed, a correlation between communal politics and the electoral calendar. And in fact, data sets have been built showing this correlation in the historical perspective. More riots occur before elections to polarize and in order to make the voters feel more Hindu or more Muslim at the time of voting. What we've seen lately is an interesting change in that sense, in that perspective, because we've seen a kind of low intensity communal atmosphere cultivated across the board, irrespective of the electoral calendar. You know, we've seen the love jihad, the Garvapsi, the Bharat Mata Ki Jai campaign. Then, of course, the Gaurachak somewhat dominated the scene in North Indian states, resulting in tensions which were not as intense as riots, but sustained. Whether that will help at the time of election or not remains to be seen, because we have not had elections in the states affected by that since the BR elections. And in BR it did not work. In BR, communal polarization did not work in favor of the BJP. Whether it will work in UP remains to be seen.
The selection of Sheila Dikshit as the Congress CM candidate, do you think it will enhance the position of Congress, or the Congress have already given up? Will the 2017 UP elections become the relaunch pad for the Rahul Gandhi as the Kisan Neta, or Congress is preparing him for the next Lok Sabha election?
Well, what is really interesting in these UP elections, where you have four parties in the fray, SP, BSP, Congress and BJP, is that on the national parties side, Congress and BJP, you do not really have a face. No, you don't really have a chief minister in waiting projected as the one who will take over, which is really new, at least for BJP. BJP has always had a face to project, not this time. So as a result, the national figures, Narendra Modi on the one end, Rahul Gandhi on the other end, appears as the chief campaigners. It's an interesting contrast with what is there on the state parties side. You know, BSP as Mayawati, SP as Akhilesh Yadav, and I think that will work in favor of the state parties. Whether, as you ask, the second part of your question about the leaders, whether that will result in Rahul Gandhi being already projected as the prime minister in waiting for the next Lok Sabha elections. Well, depends on the electoral results. It will be very difficult to, at that stage, to figure out what will happen. What I find somewhat surprising is that BSP and Congress could not form an alliance this time. Is it because of overconfidence? Maybe. That's my interpretation, at least on the BSP side. BSP should have made an alliance with Congress this time to make the performance more certain. Because if Mayawati loses one more election, that will be, I think, the beginning of the end for BSP. And these two parties had a mutual interest in joining hands. They have some complementarity. They don't do it. I think they take they take big risks. And at a time when neither Congress nor BSP can afford to lose one more election. So I hope they will change their mind before the D-Day.
Ambedkar was anti-national. He didn't think that India was a nation, as India is made up of thousands of castes. I'm quoting from your article only. And Ambedkar was anti-religious too. Ambedkar was a person who never believed in religion because it discriminates. And India's elections are known for its communal and caste-based vote politics. How the Indian politics is going to stand this contradiction? Will we be able to really see elections getting contested on the real social and developmental issues?
India is living with this contradiction since 1950, because there is a huge gap between the Constitution of India that has been drafted by Dr. Ambedkar to a large extent, and the practices of politics. And this is since 1950. And that's something Ambedkar had said himself. He said, on the 26th of January 1950, we will be entering an era of contradiction. We'll have a progressive text, the Constitution, and we'll have to upgrade social and political practices to match what the text says. After so many years, after 70 years, the gap is still there. And that's why Ambedkar is worshipped, but not implemented, so to speak. The gap remains. And everybody is paying lip service to what he says. Nobody wants to do what he recommended. That will go on. And one day, probably, the Ambedkarism will either become completely obsolete, and nobody to talk in the name of the man will still be there in the public sphere, or on the contrary, it'll become unavoidable because of social conflicts, something that is not yet very palpable but which may become palpable. You know, what we are seeing, and I'm very much inclined toward the second possibility, because what we are seeing with the Jat movement, the Patel movement, the Maratha movement, the Kapoor movement, are pointing towards a new socio-political equation within these caste groups, those who are lagging behind, revolting. So we are living caste politics because these are caste groups, but now differentiated along class lines. And that may make Ambedkar more relevant because, well, if the plebeians, if this Bahujan, not only Dalits and Adivasis, but also those who among the OBCs and dominant caste are joining hands, then there is a new constituency for Ambedkarism. It's too early to say again, but we will see in these UP elections what is the Jat voting pattern. Will there be something again based on caste blocks, or Jats shifting, the rural Jats shifting towards a more anti-establishment kind of politics? Because we say there is a class divide. It's also a urban versus rural kind of divide. And that's new for these caste groups. There are so many Jats in the cities now who are doing better than Jats in the village. And it's true in Punjab as well. At least it's true for some of the Punjab places.
Sir, actually this question is related to your work, India's Silent Revolution. In that your work, you stated that how the emergence of lower caste, OBC, affect Indian politics. So after the masses, we can see that in Bihar, like Lalu Prasad and Nitish, and in UP like Mulayam and now Akhilesh, means I want to know your statement, your view that how far you will see that silent revolution will be changed into yes, in a new direction in upcoming UP election?
What is really interesting in that respect is that when I did this book, something like 15 years ago, it was something new. You know, we had seen the Yadavs moving up in the 90s, and that was for the first time a social transformation resulting in some political change, and upper caste were dislodged from power, and you will not see probably a Brahmin chief minister in Bihar, a Brahmin chief minister in Uttar Pradesh as easily as in the 80s. Now, 15 years later, we can also consider that they have become somewhat the new Brahmins, quote unquote, in the sense that they have come up, but they have made sure that those who were below them do not come up. And it's very similar to what we had seen before in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, where you have seen in the early decades of the 20th century, Marathas taking over Brahmins, Redis and Kamas, Vokaligas and Lingayats, becoming the dominant caste, dislodging upper caste from power, but then making no room for those who were below them. So Yadavs are the new Marathas, if you want, or Kamas or Redis, and this is where the revolution stops. No, we have not yet reached a stage when the plebeians are really taking over. And in 2009, we did a book, Rise of the Plebeians, and the title had a question mark. And I always remind people that there was a question mark. It's a work in progress, but the stages are very slow. I mean, it takes decades before a new strata comes up and really become part of the ruling elite. Even in Tamil Nadu, where are the Dalits? So even Tamil Nadu, which is probably the most progressive state, there is a kind of ceiling. I mean, there is a kind of blockade. And that's why in a country where there is no revolution, where there are only silent revolutions, things take more time.